Hey everyone, I'm Mackayla, and today we're welcoming Caroline Romano to the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. Welcome. We're really glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so to start off, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind your new single, Doesn't Matter?
Yeah, so Doesn't Matter is basically just kind of a stream of consciousness. I sat down to write it with my friend John the Dropout, and we write a lot of music together. And I think we were kind of at a place where we were both like, let's just write something that has no structure, just whatever you're feeling. So he kind of sat down and started doing these weird synthy sounds, and I just started thinking about what was going on in my life. And it was really just a situationship that had no structure or clear direction.
Mhm.
And I just sat down and wrote that chorus in like 10 minutes because it was just what was on my mind. And I think the whole song is kind of like a I don't know what this is situation, both for the song itself and for the situationship it's talking about.
Situationships are always confusing.
Yes, they are. They really, really be like that for sure.
Yeah, so how did writing that song in 10 minutes differ from your normal songwriting approach?
I think living in Nashville, I it's such a songwriting centered town, and I've been here since I was 15, basically writing songs, and
Hmm.
I've learned so much about song structure and, a lot of the times, at least for me, it's easy to get caught up in like oh, it's not profound enough, oh, it's not clever enough, oh, it's not structured, like this enough. And for Doesn't Matter to be just such I didn't sit down that day thinking I was going to write a song I was going to release.
Hmm.
And it just is so like exactly what I'm feeling. And there's no real like too much thought behind it, just enough emotion behind it all. So it was very like careless, but in a great way. And
Hmm.
it taught me a lot that the music I want to put out from here on out is not doesn't have to be so like methodical. It can just
Yeah,
be more emotive.
yeah. How has it been received by your fans?
I was really nervous to put it out because it's a big departure from music I've put out recently,
Hmm.
but I was so stoked to like see people have like said to me like this is their favorite song that I've put out. I was very surprised by that. But people seem to like it, which I'm stoked about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how has your music kind of evolved from where you started to where you are now? And how does that kind of show in Doesn't Matter?
I think my music has really grown up with me. I started releasing music when I was 15, and I think you can clearly tell that most of, like a lot of the early stuff was chronically 15 years old. It's grown with me from juvenile to just learning to very angsty kind of music about a year ago up till now. And now I'm in this place of being 22 and still angsty and still not figuring anything out, but maybe I know just a little bit more about
Hmm.
myself. And I think my music is just a reflection of that, and that the stuff I'm starting to put out is a little bit tamer and a little bit calmer than maybe music I'd put out a year ago, but still very reflective of my current 20 something mental state.
Yeah, I get that. I'm also 22, so I fully get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I know anything more now being 22, maybe less, but as
Yeah,
you
it's
kind of
the world is more confusing now that you're an adult. Like,
yes, 100%.
yeah, so you started releasing music when you were 15. So how did starting so young kind of influence where you are now?
It definitely allowed me to make a lot of mistakes early on, which I'm very grateful for because being young, I was surrounded by a family who loved me and supported me, and I kind of got a lot of like the big learning lessons out of the way pretty early. But, music has definitely just been the definitive thing of my life. It's what I've known I've wanted to do since as long as I can remember, and I feel very blessed to have gotten to start so early. But yeah, it definitely changed the trajectory of like, I feel like I didn't necessarily have a normal high school or social experience. And that is also reflective in my music because I'm very socially anxious at times. But I'm grateful for it. I wouldn't change anything about it. And yeah, I'm sure I'll look back 5 years from now and be like, I made so many mistakes at 22, career wise or music wise, but they're all learning things.
I feel like you can look back on any period in your time and be like, oh, why didn't I do this differently? Or
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
so I feel like that's just life.
Yeah. Just life. We're learning.
Yeah, so can you mention what some of those early, I guess you called mistakes or like learning opportunities
Totally.
were?
Totally. So I think being a 15-year-old girl, I came into Nashville even younger than that to start working. It's very easy to let people tell you who you are
Hmm.
and what kind of music you should make because this works for this person and you look like this person and you can't do this because that person. And when a bunch of adults are telling you that, you kind of believe it
Hmm.
and you start to believe that that's who you should be and that's the kind of music you should make. And it brought me to a place where I was like really didn't like what I was releasing or, didn't feel it was authentic to who I
Hmm.
was. I was never someone who felt truly comfortable releasing like a super upbeat like summer track at
Okay.
yeah, I was in a dark place when I was 15 and
Yeah.
I wanted to write music that reflected that. So I think that's a mistake I learned. And then genre-wise, just in general, like I was not in a genre that I was happy with at all. And then also just being 15 on the internet, learning like you have to guard yourself and you have to
Hmm.
protect yourself. And not everything people say to you is like a reflection of you. It's just people online
Yeah.
criticizing. It's not, I took it to heart too much when I was a
Hmm.
kid.
So if you could go back and give your 15-year-old self advice, what would you say?
I would say the same advice I'd give to anybody right now, which is like, it sounds cliche, but like, believe in yourself, like,
Hmm.
and know, try to figure out who you are as fast as you can, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to get you farthest. Having a firm foundation on who you are and what you believe and what you want to do is what is the biggest thing that I've seen has made people successful in
Hmm.
this industry and in life.
Yeah, and it is a very hard thing to figure out.
Yes, it is, definitely.
Yeah, so you just came off a tour with Small Pools and Grayscale, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how do you prepare for performances?
I I mean, besides the rehearsals I do with my band the weeks leading up to a show or a tour, I'm really not the best at like preparing. I try to just distract myself
Hmm.
because I find if I sit still for too long or think about it too much, that's when I'll get nervous.
Hmm.
But a lot of the times I like to just like sit, whether it's in like a quiet area and like just listen to a song that really like puts me in a good place and like
Hmm.
drink coconut water, which I'm obsessed with, or just like call my mom or hang out with my friends is a great like pre-show prep. But I also just try to sing a lot throughout the day, don't drink soda, all that good stuff,
Hmm.
but just know the set, know what you're doing.
Pretty important.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Do you have any pre or post show rituals?
I'd say pre-show ritual is just like quiet space, sitting down, like listening to music. Post-show ritual. Oh, I always like to order like a salad from a place that I would normally get a salad from. Like if I'm in a different city, I try to find like the best salad around and I'll
Any particular
DoorDash.
kind of salad or?
I'm a big build your own salad
Okay.
person, and it's kind of just my mission to find the best salad in every city. So I'll just try to Uber Eats a salad to me as a reward. So super fun. Yeah.
Are there any must-haves on your salads?
Mm, I mean, I love beets. People who have beets, which is, controversial. Some people say they taste like dirt, but I love beets. If they have beets, you're automatically up a few points in my salad roster.
Okay. Anything that you can't have in your salad?
Mm, I don't like crunchy things, weirdly
Okay.
enough. So if there's like a lot of crunchy stuff going on, not into it.
So not a salad with croutons or anything like that.
No, anti-croutons, anti like non-cooked vegetables. I don't like
Okay.
them to be like raw because they're too
Hmm.
crunchy.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song to perform live?
We close out the set with this currently performing This House. It's like a ballad, but it just is so emotional and it builds, and it's such a fun thing to see people build with it emotionally during the song. So I love that one. And then there's also an unreleased song I have called Body Bag that's very like Jersey club rock, which
Hmm.
is interesting, and that one always surprises people, so I love performing that one too.
Yeah. How do you connect with the audience during a live show?
I think it can be easy to kind of just like when you're singing the same songs night after night, like forget that like this is your baby, like you felt this emotion. And so I always try to put myself in that place emotionally, like the way I was when I was writing it, when I'm performing
Hmm.
it. And I try to look people in the eye. It can be scary to look people in the eye when they're in the audience, but I try to look people in the eye, sing them the words to their faces, and then, people really connect with that because
Yeah.
that's just a human connection. But also just finding little ways to involve the crowd. I love talking in between every few songs and finding little moments in my set to involve them in participation things, which is always fun.
What sort of participation things?
I started doing this thing in Doesn't Matter. I have this like breath I do in the pre-chorus,
Hmm.
and I run around a lot on stage, so I'm always very out of breath. So I've started asking the audience to help me, like when that part comes, when I sing the pre-chorus, I'll be like,
Hmm.
"You lock the door, I hold my breath," and then I hold the mic out, and they do the big gasp. Or I'll be
Okay.
like, "Put your lights up," or something like that
Hmm.
to get people going.
What did you miss the most while you were on tour?
Ooh, this is hard. I missed my cat a lot. He had to go live with his my mom while I was gone, and I miss him dearly. So I would say my cat and also my car because I'm a control freak. I like being
Hmm.
able to go wherever, whenever.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're going to do differently on the next tour that you learned from this one?
I think I would say next tour I want to learn to slow down, even like
Okay.
during the sets, like just take it in a little bit more, breathe, not rush through it because it's so exciting, but also that nervous energy. I feel like I
Yeah.
kind of blacked out in a lot of moments on stage, and I don't want to miss a thing like that anymore.
Hmm.
And then also, I would love to find more ways to like connect with the audience before or after shows. There was so
Hmm.
little time, and like it being an opening slot, like
Yeah.
being we had to leave whenever everyone else had to leave. I would love to find more opportunities to connect with people before and after shows because
Hmm.
it was really special to see people I didn't know even knew who I was come out to shows to see me, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share a memorable moment from the tour that stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, there were so many. There was one moment in LA when I looked at we were playing the El Rey, which was like the first theater show I've ever played. And I looked down and it was like the third song in because I was just so nervous I'd even like really checked my surroundings.
Hmm.
I looked down and I looked at the front row and everyone was singing the song, like the lyrics to the song that wasn't even out yet.
Hmm.
And I saw some faces from people I've seen online who've been following my music but I've never met. And I was just like, this is actually crazy that this is happening right now. So, really cool moment for me.
Any others that stand out, or just that one in particular?
I mean, that was a big moment that I also this one girl, her name was Lily. She came to all 9 shows that I was on,
Oh,
and she
awesome.
asked me to draw her a tattoo when we finished the tour, and she got it tattooed. So
That's really cool.
yeah, I was like, I'm sorry. Are you sure you want me to really do this? Like, I'm not good at this. And she was sure about it. So she has a little lightning bolt behind her ear now.
That's cool. How did that feel to have somebody ask for something like that?
So it was incredible, but I was also like logistically, I was in mom mode. I was like, "Are you sure about this? Like, I promise this can't be undone." Like, let me.
Right.
So it was awesome though. It was really cool.
Is she the first fan of yours to get a tattoo from you?
Yes, she is. But since then, I've had another person reach out and ask to get for me to draw them something, and I'm like, guys, I'm not an artist. I can't draw. Let's think of something easy and we can make this work. But
I
yeah,
guess you should probably learn to draw now.
I probably should. Truthfully, we'll work on that. That'll be the next thing.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your older music.
Yeah.
So how has your music style changed since your debut album, Oddities and Prodigies?
I'd say it kind of has done like a half circle. It's almost all the way back to what it was. Oddities and Prodigies was very much music I wrote halfway in my bedroom and halfway with my friends when I first like came up to Nashville. It was over the span of a few years, songs I'd collected, and you can hear a lot of like juvenile aspects in that, but there's still a lot of like it sounds kind of like the way I write now. And it's very chaotic at times and very like frantic. And I think that my music has gone through a circle where it's almost hit more extreme points of that and more of those rock elements and more of those exploring the alternative sound a bit more
Hmm.
to now like hitting some points on the album where I have like some totally stripped acoustic songs on that album. And I feel like right now I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. But it's just again like a little bit more matured version of myself. And I think what I love about that album is it is so true to who I am as a person. So I think from here for the rest of my life, my music's always gonna still feel like somewhere in that realm.
Hmm. Could you tell us a little bit more about what inspired your 2023 EP, A Brief Epic?
A Brief Epic is an EP I'm really proud of. I wrote it about my first heartbreak ever, and it was just a like relationship over the course of I mean a few months really. And I'd never really written about love before then, but
Hmm.
it'd always been about my dreams or my mind or things like that. And that was the first time I really had a firm grasp of what it felt like to write those kinds of songs. And so much of our relationship was centered around this book called The Song of Achilles, and it's like a Greek tragedy, like
Hmm.
fantasy book. And leaving that relationship, like it felt very much like a Greek tragedy, and all I could think of was like it felt so lasting. It was something that was going to impact me for so long, but it was
Hmm.
so short, the whole thing at the same time. So the only way I knew how to describe that was a brief epic. So I wanted it to feel sweet and overdramatic and tragic, but also resolved at the end of it. And yeah, that's what it is in I think 6 songs.
So, how do you approach putting together your EP versus putting together a full-length album?
I think very similarly, I'm a big start to finish. I want it to tell a story. And
Hmm.
I love listening to albums or projects or whatever start to finish. I think it's really important. So I want you to kind of go on that actual like storyline, like this is the
Hmm.
beginning, this is the climax, this is the end. So just when I go to put together a project, a lot of the times, or at least so far, it's been just listening back to songs I have and realizing that they do tell a story and they do have that common thread. And then
Hmm.
it's just kind of working backwards, puzzle piecing those together and figuring out which ones fit and which ones really do tell that story the overarching story I want to tell overall in the best way.
Hmm. So, you've mentioned that you've written some of your songs with friends or co-wrote some of them. So, how does that differ from writing by yourself?
It's very different. I love co-writing and I love working with my extremely talented friends who I promise are much more talented than I am. And it's so cool to see how minds blend together to like create something that never would be if you weren't working with that person. So when I'm in a co-write, it is a lot more structured. There's typically a lot more of like the like verse, chorus, what's the topic, what are we feeling? It's like a therapy
Hmm.
session, I find, in a lot of ways. We talk about what we're feeling, find something in what one of us has said in those few moments to jump off of, and then dive
Hmm.
into it. And typically those songs are written in, I'd say, 3 hours, tracked and everything. But with writing by myself, it's very different in that I'll sit down, sometimes just write one line, or sometimes write a full song in a night. I always go to writing when I'm very, typically at night, like as a reflective kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it'll either be one line or it'll be the whole song. And I'll just record it to my guitar, but it's always very unstructured. It always feels very just stream of consciousness, diary kind of form. And
Hmm.
that's typically how writing solo feels, just very personal in a different way.
Yeah. When you're struggling creatively, are there any things that you do to kind of bring it back?
I love going on walks and listening to albums that I know are that I just love and that inspired me to make music like I do in the first place. So I'll find myself revisiting old albums and just taking a step back, like reminding myself that music is there as like a catharsis thing. Like it's supposed to be a
Hmm.
beautiful thing, and it doesn't have if it's not coming out right now, that's okay. It's a job, but it's also like the art itself isn't the job.
Yeah.
And so I try not to put too much pressure on myself in those moments, which has been hard and is something I used to really struggle with. But I find that the quicker I let that thought go, the quicker the creativity will come back too.
That's good. Are there any albums in particular that find yourself coming back to?
Definitely, the Cape Elizabeth EP by Noah Kahan is a really, really big one for me. I would say any Taylor Swift album pretty much is a really big one. Early 21 Pilots is
Hmm.
huge. Also, my dad listened to a lot of like Bryan Adams and Shania Twain growing up, so sometimes I'll just throw on those songs and like
Hmm.
classic song structure like that. But big Taylor Swift, big Noah Kahan, big 21 Pilots. I mean, typically those things get me back in it.
Yeah. So are they also some of your biggest musical influences, or are those different influences?
They definitely are some of my biggest musical influences, even though sonically, I feel like they don't necessarily sound like I sound, like songwriting wise, the way they approach what they're saying and how boldly they say it or how poetic they say it is definitely things I incorporate. But also, like other inspirations of mine, Holly Humberstone's a really, really big one. Love her.
Hmm.
Gang of Youths is a big one. Even My Chemical Romance, how theatrical and how they've combined like rock music with just like
Yeah.
these huge like Shakespearean kind of sonnets is cool.
So you've mentioned that you kind of put all of your emotions out there when you're writing a song. How do you put it all out there, but also kind of keep some of it for yourself and not be too, I don't want to say personal, but
No, I
yeah,
get it.
if
I
that
get
makes
it.
sense.
It's something I'm still struggling with. There are times where I'm like, should I say this? I don't know. I have pages and pages of songs I've written when I'm by myself that I don't think anyone will ever see because it's just a gut feeling. It's just like, this
Hmm.
is just for you. But there are times when I feel a little bit like, is this too vulnerable? Should I say this? That kind of lets me know that I probably should
Hmm.
because those are the songs, at least from other artists, when they're really vulnerable or like, so they share a really personal thing in their life that always connects so much with me. So I know if
Hmm.
it's making me just a tiny bit uncomfortable, I'm probably doing the right thing, I
That
guess.
makes sense. Yeah. So what has been the most rewarding part of your journey so far?
Oh God. I that's a
or a couple, I guess?
There's yeah, I can
Yeah.
give a couple. I would say like making friends in music has been extremely rewarding for selfish reasons. Like I was a child who grew up without a lot of close friends, and the people I know now and the life I have now, surrounded by so many wonderful, incredible, like cool people, is just something I never envisioned, and I'm very,
Hmm.
very grateful for that. But also, I mean, the people who have listened to my music and have reached out about saying like how much it's impacted them or helped them through times like I mean, I've talked about a wide variety of things in my music, having grown up and been writing since I was so young, and like everything from like eating disorders to first heartbreaks. Like people have reached
Hmm.
out and said how those things have helped and affected them in their lives, and that's not something I can ever like fully grasp. It's incredibly rewarding for that as well.
Yeah. Is there any particular message that you hope listeners take from your music?
I hope that there's this whatever song they're listening to, there's like a I always try to leave it a little bit open-ended, like a little bit like
Hmm.
no matter how bad this is, like it's gonna get better. And that's all I ever look for in music is to invoke that little like bit of excitement or a little bit of
Yeah,
prettiness to life. And I just hope my music adds a little bit of color and a little bit of hope even in the sad songs.
for sure. So you mentioned in touring that you have been playing some unreleased songs. So do you have plans for releases in the future?
Totally. My next release I think is going to be one of the unreleased songs I played on tour, called Body Bag, and then following that, hopefully another project, which will include some more songs that I played on tour that are unreleased.
Very exciting. Do you have any more plans for live shows or tours?
I hope so. I don't have anything set in stone right now, but the minute I got off tour, I was like, we got to do another one. So
Hmm.
I miss it dearly. So I'm working on it. I'm fiending for it.
What do you miss most about it?
I just miss I miss the stage. Like those like, 25, 30 minutes are like literally like the only times I feel completely free and unencumbered and like so just inexplicably happy. But I also just miss being with my friends like in a bus and then like just
Hmm.
with a common goal to just get to the next place. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Are there any particular places or venues that you want to go back to?
I really want to go back to Seattle because we were only in Seattle for a day, but it seemed
Hmm.
really, really cool, and that's my vibe. And it was a great show, so I would love to play Nemo's in Seattle again. Also, San Francisco was really cool. The weather was gorgeous, and I'd love to see that one again.
Are there any new places that you want to go to?
I want to do the East Coast. I've never really played on the East Coast, so I would love to. I've only been to New York once, so I'd love to go back to New
Hmm.
York. Love to see Boston, all the good things up
Beautiful.
there. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a little biased, so
Yeah, I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
yeah. So you kind of tour in a van with your friends. Do you do most of the driving or do they do it?
Thankfully, we split it up pretty
Hmm.
evenly. There were four of us, my guitarist, my drummer, and my photographer, and me. And so we would split it up. I will say they did, I'm not the strongest driver, is what some
Hmm.
people would say. So I could tell, kind of wanted to take, because it was a big, 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 big bus, like van thing.
Yeah,
And so I think they were a little bit more comfortable driving, but yeah, you get some good sleep in those vans though.
I bet. Cause well, you're just so exhausted.
So exhausted, we would just sleep in the back on top of the merch. It was awesome. So yeah,
What do you miss the least from tour?
I I miss the least hotel rooms. I'm like I could never see a hotel room again. That'd be too soon. So
So if you were touring, would you just sleep on the bus instead of going to hotels, or what would you do instead?
probably I think I would like that. I just don't like the like unpacking and the repacking and the I don't know, hotels just aren't my thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot of work
Yeah, yeah.
because you don't have time to get settled.
Never, yeah. And you're just there for like literally, we would be there sometimes for 5 hours just to sleep and then back.
Right. So it's like, why does it matter? I could just sleep in the car,
Exactly, exactly.
or you could do like a tent or something.
A tent would be nice. Well, who knows? We'll figure it out. Hopefully, next step we'll be able to have some form of bed in a moving vehicle.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, so before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about today?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Okay, so the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
That's a great question. I would say the sound. Do people normally give like a song reference or just like a vague like poetic thing? I'm curious.
Both. It's
Okay.
all over the place.
Okay, this is a great question. I would say the soundtrack of my life is the background noise in like a party or a room full of people you love,
Hmm.
where you're not talking but everyone else is, and you just feel that sense of like warmth and love. I would say something like that, like a crowded room but only full of
Yeah,
people you love.
that's beautiful.
That's a great question, though. I'm gonna be thinking about that for a long time.
Thank you. So, where can our listeners follow you to stay updated with your music and future tours?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any of the social things. And yeah, I'm always announcing stuff, always posting on there. So would love to see it. And also Spotify and Apple Music, of course. All the streaming.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. So appreciate it.
Yeah, have a nice rest of your day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye. Listeners, go follow her to stay updated and make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at STO Lives Podcast. Thanks for joining us.